Welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome, Hilda. How are
Welcome.
you today?
Thank you for having me.
It's my
This is
pleasure.
a beautiful day.
Yes, night here, but yes, beautiful day. How are you? How's everything? We were talking behind the scenes, so I know a little bit how you're doing.
You know what? It is a it just as I said, it is a beautiful winter day. Um, as I said to you, it's morning here, and
Yes.
I've been easing into my morning and getting ready for this live and this discussion and just looking forward to it. And you know, another great collab.
Yes.
with yeah,
Yes. It's I think these conversations really are 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 an important part of my journey because it helps me learn, it helps me reflect on certain things that I might not do by myself. Um,
right, right.
and just the community aspect and just getting together with you and other people is, I think it's a beautiful grounding ritual as well, right? In a way. Um, yeah, so welcome again. And
You
Hilda,
are.
was that
I said you are
I am what?
Revneet. Of
I
reflection.
am Ravneet from Winds of Reflection, and this is Hilda, or here, I'm not sure where it's showing, from Nova Scotia Organic to the Land Stories. I'm going to put her handle down below, but go check out her channel. She's amazing. It's just, I feel like both of us are not going out of our way for these conversations. These are something that is very much a part of our journey, and so these conversations really help us understand things and process and then sit with you guys and reflect. And my cat is here too, because yeah.
Hi, everyone.
So I guess she wants to be part of this,
He
but
does.
but today we are going to be talking about intuition, um, and also people who watch the replay, welcome.
Welcome,
Um,
welcome, everyone. Hmm.
yeah, and intuition is interesting, right? Because it's not, how do you see intuition as? What do you think intuition is for everyone?
Automatically, when I say intuition, I think my gut feeling. You know what? My first original thought or feeling that I'm experience. What's my first thought? What am I feeling uh, in the instant? What was I originally first feeling? And also, what's the thoughts that came after that feeling? So that's how I gauge the word intuition. So
It's
you know,
interesting you said that because it's really intuition can talk through the body, through emotions, and it's really fast because it's beyond words, it's beyond the mind. So you
mhm,
can feel it in your gut. You can feel it. Yeah, it's really interesting because it's the more you practice it, the more you understand the different ways intuition talks to you, or you'll hear something like people have different abilities of like clairvoyance, clairsentience, all of that, where you can see something or hear something or smell something, like your senses also um, can indicate that there's something that you need to focus on. So, yeah, it's just,
and being able to read the signs and the signals of the universe, because the universe sends many signs and signals through
yes,
nature. And so when you once again um, are are able to fine tune your intuition in a way that you know what you can see the signs, that's another level. I think that
yeah, I feel
because you were
like,
saying with the intuition, I see it like that too.
yeah. Yeah, it's not overthinking. It's something like if I ask you, Hilda, how are you feeling? Like you can say like a color, you can say a feeling, an emotion, or um
Mhm,
and not overthinking and just sharing exactly how you feel and express it.
mhm.
Um and also like before we were talking, you said something about patterns. I think that is interesting because I also feel like pattern recognition. Do you want to elaborate on that? 'Cause I thought like that was really interesting.
Absolutely. I think that, you know what, along my, especially along my journey, listen, you start to recognize everything runs. There's a pattern to almost everything. There's a pattern that's been happening in your life. And it was through the recognition of my own pattern of certain behaviors in responses, or there was a pattern to it. And then I started noticing the pattern in other people. And then you notice not maybe necessarily that wasn't necessarily the same pattern, but everyone has a particular pattern if you study an individual long enough. If you're around
Right.
them long enough, you will see that there's a pattern. And my whole point being is that in the times of in which, you know what, you may feel that, you know what, my intuition, I don't know, I'm not getting a feeling. I don't know whether one way or the other. However, what is the pattern? What am I looking at for a pattern? So that's where pattern um, becomes very significant along the process of navigating people and navigating your healing process and whether or not you want to engage or not engage. So yeah.
It's interesting what you said because even in our last live, you said like something was not okay. Something was not okay. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's something that your body was recognizing what your mind couldn't, right? And that's what intuition really is. It's like um it's not always it's not always comfortable, and it actually demands, I've seen like it demands you to slow down. I don't think it's easy to um tap into it when you're busy and like
And during that time, when recognizing that something's wrong here, what was
yeah.
really wrong, you know, what you're trying to process something that you're not ready to process. You're not ready to
Mm.
process it on that level. That's what your body has really been telling you, and that's why it's on. You can only go so far into the conversation until
Yes.
it becomes performing. Because if I
Yes.
were to go the other way, then I would be dealing with something that I'm not prepared to go fully out there with. So that was a huge insight when looking back and discussing what was going on there. And after you and I even had a conversation after the live, coming
Right.
to that, uh, you know, enlightenment.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's sometimes you haven't fully processed it, and which is why it's off, and you're trying to cognitively or mentally
Right.
process something that you haven't fully taken the
Right.
time to process fully. And sometimes it's just not you. And sometimes we try to connect with something that's not even you. And you're like,
Right.
I think that is me. And we self diagnose. And it's like,
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
maybe that's not what we're talking about here. Maybe
mhm.
that's not relevant either.
Right.
So that the
Right.
timing can be an issue too. So it was really interesting when you pointed out, I'm like, you're right. And it's that's the thing. That's what we're talking about here. You can just feel when things are not coming from your heart and you're from your being. And it's so interesting. Like you and I are talking, but if
Mhm.
you are not fully present and I'm not fully present, it's not going to work. And we can drag out the whole conversation, but
Right.
you and I both will know something isn't right.
Right.
And
Exactly.
that's what we're talking about. It's like there's no logic, but like it is the most sensible thing that we feel though. Um
Yes.
and yeah, it's like even now, like I can hear people talking and I'll be like, something is off. Sometimes I can feel like I need something from them or they need something from
Mhm.
me. Um, welcome,
Hello,
mom. Welcome. Um, and
well,
yeah, and it's like sometimes you can just feel like you. It's not like the person is really nice
mhm,
externally, but you can feel like
mhm.
something is off. And then you know what we like what I do, and then I was talking with my mom about this too the other day, that our gut or our body, or however your intuition communicates through you to you, you will know if something is off. And what I do is like the programming comes in then. No, but you're supposed to be kind to others. Just giving an example. And then you're supposed to be this and you're supposed to be that. And we overrule it. And time passes and the same thing comes back again. And you have to correct it.
It's funny because just at 11:11, I was talking and I was thinking patterns once again. You say talking about intuition and patterns, that's where the pattern comes in. You're
Yes.
noticing that, okay, something's off. And not only that, okay, that person keeps doing this or they
Right.
keep doing that, which is a pattern that shows up when people are uh, not being so honest, or that
Yeah,
they're nervous, or there's certain things that we're
exactly.
in the midst of people, and it's like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but your body is telling me something completely different.
Exactly. It's not about right or wrong because we fall like I fall prey to it too. Sometimes I'm like, I'll
Right,
try, I think I'm being a certain way, but I might be performing or
right,
pretending. And
right,
then it really requires being very honest with yourself first,
right.
right? Um, and I also feel that it requires compassion as well for yourself and then for also for others. Because if you are very much attached to the story, and it's like, why are they doing this to me? For example, why are they doing this to me?
Right,
You're too much involved in the story. You
right,
cannot recognize the pattern right now. Right now, you
right,
need to process those emotions. And then
right.
after some time, you can then take the time to recognize what is going on, you know, zoom out.
Mhm.
Um, but absolutely, um,
And once again, that is where, when you're talking intuition, you definitely have to be working on the healing of yourself
yes,
when you're talking about using your intuition. And what do I mean by that? Oh my goodness. I was about to go somewhere and I think I'm gonna lose my point. But if you do not have a grasp on your emotions and heal those emotions, to know when your emotions are speaking, what's
yes,
real, what's not real, what's being triggered, what's not being triggered. If you haven't taken the time to go through that process, then more than often you are going to be coming from a place of hypervigilance because you
yes.
haven't taken the time to um, emotionally regulate,
Mhm.
or stabilize, center, knowing that that's something that you have to continue to do so that you're reading the room properly, that you're reading the situation properly. Am I making sense?
Absolutely. If exactly, if you're too involved in the story, no, it's hard to listen to your intuition because it will feel
Right.
like an attack. Um, right?
And
Because
I'm
intuition,
thinking that, you know what, I've been on the opposite side. I have been that one that was not
same.
reading,
We all
reading
been
things
there.
right. When I look back, I think, oh, okay. Yeah.
We've all been there. So that's why it's like, no judgment really.
No.
Because we've all been there. Um, but yeah, also people in the chat, like, um, have you ignored a feeling or a thought or something that came up, um and then you felt like, I knew it, like I knew it, and then you're like, why did I ignore it? Like, I'm sure it has. Has it happened to you, Hilda, where you're
Oh,
like,
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I just say which time. It has happened in friendships. It's happened in the beginning of relationships. You know what? Seeing signs and signals and feeling one thing, and then you know what? Just I can just remember the feeling of and seeing what I did. Just put it right underneath the carpet, right underneath the carpet, and continue to go into a level of performance. I saw myself do that with friendships. You know what? That
yeah,
thing come up, and then what did I do? But you know what? Put it aside, or give it a different name. I love that one. Give it a different name. You know?
give it a different name?
Yeah. hmm So yeah, absolutely, I did.
But why do you
But
think we do that?
I'm not
Because
gonna do that.
what is that?
Clar- Clarity will not allow you to do that. Will no longer allow you to
Mm,
do that. With clarity,
yeah,
but
yeah,
that was recognizing each time you do or that I did that, each time that I did that, not only was I dishonoring myself each time I did it, and it was also dealing with something like conflict, a conflict that I didn't want to deal with, which became an internal conflict, anyways, with myself, as
right.
opposed to dealing with the initial conflict with what was going on by just speaking my truth.
Yeah. Where do you also, people in the chat, or if you watch a replay, please feel free to comment. Where do you feel a yes in your body and like a no in your body? Because you can feel it.
My
Your
God,
body, your gut.
my God, oh my God. My gut will tell me right away, you know what I mean? Yeah, my gut. That's a yes, that's a no, that's a um as I said, you can be talking and I can be looking and my body is reading the whole perimeter. I'm reading with
Mhm.
everything. I'm listening to what my body is saying. You can be speaking words, but those words, I'm looking for pauses. I'm looking for all that different stuff, and as well as how what is my inner saying? What is my inner saying? But once again, you got to be in that place of where you are processing. Did I always call it right? No,
Yeah.
I did not. I did not always call it right. And oftentimes that's when I didn't listen to my intuition. When I didn't listen to my first initial intuition, which was saying, let that shit go. hmm
I feel like sometimes, I think I feel like listening to your intuition is hard because it does not care about if it's comfortable to you. That's the thing. And that's why, like you mentioned before, if you haven't healed in some aspect, it will be hard for you to trust it, right? Because and it can feel blasphemous at times, because it will be like,
hmm hmm
you need to leave, or you need to do this, or you need to do that, or you need to speak up, or you don't, make certain changes, which, I mean, also, yeah, for that question, I will also answer. I think I feel it through my emotions. If
Uh-huh.
I'm not feeling, um, yeah, I think it is through emotions. If I feel a certain way and I feel like unstable, and um, I'm not centered, it tells me like the connection wasn't right. And but if I feel full and I feel energized and I feel centered and I feel more sovereign, I'm like, that's the people I want to hang out with.
What am I feeling from this connection? Is it one where you know what it's making where it's a lot of work? Is it a lot of work or is there an actual connection? A flow.
Right. Right.
There's a
Or you can feel tired, right? And I start to feel tired, and I'm
yeah,
like, it almost feels like a job. And that's how I know that that's not for me. If it
right.
feels like a task and a job, and it's like, oh my God, I need to do this, and like I need to go out with this person, and when you're going out for fun, that's a red flag right there.
And is
Um,
it bringing me peace? Is it actually bringing me peace, or is or
yes,
is it doing the opposite? Is it aligning with my? Is
right.
it aligning with me? Like, is it aligning with my core? These are the things that you go through, which ends up with your inner feelings. What am I feeling like? Am I feeling like I'm straining against this, or you know what? It's and because I'm not talking being challenged because of something new. There is the something new, and then there is the experience of oh my god, this person is uh, a bit of an energy vampire. Or you know what, they're draining on my energy in some kind of way. That
Right.
this person is work. This person is some form of work, and you can get caught up into that trap of if this is because if you come from a cycle of where that is normal, where you're working through those relationships and it's always an up or a down and you come through because it's if you can endure, that's the measure
Mhm.
of the validity of the friendship or relationship, not the quality. So if you
That's the
come from
thing.
caught up
Yeah.
in that trap again real easy, so if you're not centered,
Right.
boundaried, all of that, you can get caught up into the sauce again of, performance.
And that's the thing. Like you said something really interesting, because the thing is that if if your beliefs are if your beliefs are screwed up, right? For example, your beliefs are, oh no, you should be kind, but it's incomplete.
Right,
It's incomplete.
right, right,
And I know, like, personally, I have had experiences lately where it's like, oh, you shouldn't it was like a complete wall. It was like a wall. It was like,
right,
you shouldn't do X, Y, and Z. That tells me it's a conditioning, because you're not
right,
speaking from experience. There is
right,
never you shouldn't, and all of these, when it happens, you shouldn't.
exactly. It's not a one
That
size fits all.
it's not. And that's why people time and again will tell me, you shouldn't have done that. I'm like, how can I? Because if I do that, like you said, there are experiences where you have to be uncomfortable,
Right,
and that's how you grow.
right,
But if you don't go through that process, you will never know if it's right or wrong, because it can be right too.
right.
But if you just be like, that's just how it is, you completely eliminate any possibility of happening anything better in your life, because you're like, you shouldn't, right? You completely build a wall around yourself, right?
I think it is becoming increasingly difficult to get in anything that looks like performance. To get into when you recognize it right away becomes uncomfortable
Yeah.
because it no longer fit. And
And even if
I
they're
think
right, and even if they're right, like, I'm not trying to share personal details, because I don't think that's the right platform. But it's like, even if you're right,
hmm
you cannot let people deny the whole process of that experience, because
right,
that's how we grow, and that's how we learn.
right,
And if you're saying you shouldn't and all of that, do you have experience of that?
right, right,
So I think there is also this component of, if you're hyper vigilant, of course you'll be like, that's safe, that's unsafe, that's a safe person, that's an unsafe person. That's not what I'm talking about. I don't have time to do that anymore. I don't.
exactly,
If
exactly,
I'm talking to you, I'm gonna take the time to get to know you if I want
Right,
to, and then
right.
decide if I do want you in my life or not. But without going through that process, how can I judge you? It's just, I don't understand. Like, you know what I mean?
I know.
What do you
I'm,
think?
I'm learning this more every day. I am me. I am you. You are you. You are me. We're all a reflection of one another. Just where are we elevating from? What area are we coming from? We're not all at the same level of frequency. So each frequency is going to
Right.
create a different mirrored version of yourself. So to say,
Right.
those people over there or those people, I'm learning more that, what we are all one and we're all functioning. And
Yeah.
some of us are just functioning at different levels. And when you're at that other level, you
Yes.
just recognize that, it's not all about good or bad. It's just about, um, and I don't want to cheese it out in such a way that it minimizes everything. But you know what? The more clear I become, it's really fucking less complicated. It's the complication that we put into it when we are coming
Right.
from a place of um, you're still not so clear, right? And if you're still not so clear,
Right.
and you're clear, then you know what? I just remain open to know this. I reserve the right to change my mind when new information appears. And that's just how I'm living my life these days because it's
Exactly.
continuing to change. I'm noticing things about myself in my own evolution that I got to allow this to happen or it's not going to happen. It's not going to take place. And I want to embody the full experience, you know? So sometimes I am on and sometimes I am off. And today I just happen to be on. So it's good, right?
Isn't that interesting though? Like,
Right.
you said a lot of things here, and it's like, it's so interesting, and I'm not even sure. Like, I guess that's how I'm learning now, is that you can't shove people into boxes. If you are, that's out of fear, and you're in your head, so you're not really present. You're overthinking, so you're completely here. You're not in your body, right? And that's what fear does, pushes you in your head and you overthink. But I think real strength is that you stay present. And when
Hmm.
things come, you have discernment and you are in tune with your body and mind, soul, that you can discern based on the messages you get. And then you decide accordingly. Not that you prepare for like 5 years in advance. That's fear, right? That's fear based
Hmm.
living, right? So it's
Because you know what? I'm going to take that's not to say that you're not going to have
right,
a you're not going to have a process or a plan. So there's not going to be some type of routine or plan to get to
right.
levels
Of course,
if you want to get there. But not being so fucking rigid to the plan that you don't forget the process of being in the moment. That
right,
life is ever changing, and that if you are remaining open, that and that means what society's got its way, so you got to be ready
right,
to bump society, and not everybody is ready to do that. Not everyone's ready to bump society, but for those people that are out there really making the big changes right now are doing just that. They're saying bump what society is saying. I'm going to well, we talked about it, trust our intuition and continue to go on this path and trust the process. And that what, maybe it's not coming with speed results, but the results are coming and they're solid. Each result that's coming is more solid. So that at the finish line, if there is a so indeed a finish line, it's going to be nothing but solidarity there because it will have been built on a foundation that was coming from a place of authenticity in the moment and being present and
right.
sometimes trusting that process because that process can look like a process of confusion depending on
Yes.
who's looking. Do you understand what I mean? People just don't, not everyone understands that process. And that process is going to look something different for each person, depending on what it is
Mm.
you are trying to develop or where it is you're going. So once again, there is not one of us that is the same. And if we start going with our own blueprint, finding what that blueprint is, fuck, such a better world, a much more or a better world for your world, and you're creating a better world for the world that's around you, you know?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's like each one of us have a role in this dance of life. And to recognize the beauty and the strength of that. And it's interesting because lately I've been thinking like it really demands us, like this type of living or living in touch with your intuition really demands you to have um almost like a big heart. I don't know how else to describe it. Like to really encompass all different types of people and to let them be. And that does not in any way mean that you are best friends with them. I'm just saying. It just means that you let people be. Full
You know,
stop.
I think I agree with that, and I also agree with the concept that it's about, because when I think of, I just don't think about the problems in my neighborhood. I just don't think about the problems in my neighborhood or what someone might be going through or experiencing in my neighborhood. I think about on the collective. And when I think
Right.
about how the collective is experiencing something or going through something, I'm feeling for the collective. You get what
Mm.
I'm trying to say? So that's, it's not just minimized down to, and I think that if you got a message or a platform, you're feeling more for the collective. You're not just thinking about your little neighborhood or
Right.
yourself. You're thinking about the collective. And I don't know where I was going for with that, but
Welcome, Sabrina.
hello, Sabrina.
How are you doing today?
Hmm. How is Sabrina?
But okay, I think it then goes back to the coming back to ourselves. And I felt like most people don't have issue trusting intuition. It's more about trusting themselves, right? Because that's what we're talking about.
Hmm.
Where do you are where is that coming from? Why what do you think, like who taught us to doubt what our first feeling, because that's what really it is, right? That's not
I
trusting
think
ourselves.
it starts right at, you know what? It starts at the time of birth. It starts at the time of birth, when um, there's okay, let's, for instance, I'm going to tell you how that's happening right now, just from birth, how I think that that's happening. The fact that, you know what, it's a child's natural instinct to go on the breast. What do? They want to put the child in a bottle. Now, unless you are groomed into a society of natural birth and that's the alignment, that is not the natural course of today. The natural course of today is to take the child's natural instinct from the breast to a simulated nipple. That's just
Mm,
one of the areas, which is what it's programming the child. It's a starting a
mm,
form of programming. Um, Societal behaviors. Discipline, your discipline coming from a place of society, what looks good in society, not necessarily that of which is encompassed in front of you with your child. What's in front of me, dealing with it from an aspect of what's this going to look like from society and what would society do. So I'm going to do more of what society would do as opposed to, you know, and that creates a form of programming that the child learns from the parent, not listening to the self or not being listened to. So I do. I think it goes right back to our early beginning. And so that's why it's so easy to abandon self
Right.
for other people's thoughts because it happens at such an early age and we are actually trained to do so.
Yeah, it's almost like we develop this habit of seeking permission from outside in some way or the other.
Right,
Social media, schools, society, societal structures. Um, and then we lose that authority, which is why it's really interesting. Like most of us feel like we don't have a role, or we don't, it does not matter how, like how impactful our lives are. It's really interesting for me to notice that most of the people um, I have come across, which is actually not at all true. But if
hmm
you are looking from outside in, you can look like this little being. But hello, all the major changes that happened in the course of history was started by this one person.
hmm
Um, it's just interesting, like exactly like you said, it starts early on,
hmm
and then
and then you spend a chunk of your life, think about it, if you
yeah,
are fortunate enough to wake up, we'll say one day, you spend the rest of your life trying to deprogram and reclaim what
it's yeah, and it's interesting because I know it's hard to believe, like you were talking before, like it's if you're too much involved in the story, it can be hard to see the clear
right,
picture. But without contrast, there is no wisdom. It's almost like you're trying to learn um being a dentist from a book. I'm just
right,
saying.
right.
It's not the same thing.
Practical.
It's not. So you don't have a one-to-one experience with whatever you're talking about, whatever you're saying. So I know, I'm just saying, like, I think whatever we go through has a role in building us. And we wouldn't be here if it was all lilies, I'm just
Right,
saying.
right.
So, but that again requires, a whole lot of healing and safety and community and all of that to get to where you can zoom out and, you know,
And you know what? The point to this discussion is
right.
recognizing its need in the fact that you recognize in patterns so that you know what you can break patterns, you can break cycles, you can do the opposite of what was. That's why we're um
Yes, of course. Of course.
creating
I mean, what else are
awareness.
we doing here? See, it's exactly. It's that's what we're talking, and that's why I feel like it's an incomplete story, right? Um, we all have a choice. Every single day is a new it's like it's a gift to make different choices, right?
Right, right.
And not at all not at all glorifying whatever happens, good or bad in your life. It's just part of who you become in a way. You need that piece to be this whole spectrum being, I guess. Um, but yeah. Did I go off road? Did I go off road?
Not at all, because I mean, you were speaking, I was thinking about our ancestors who did not have the platform or the opportunity to speak what we are speaking. So I know I'm having these conversations and you're
Yes,
having these conversations because we have spoken about it so many times in our personal conversations. We are having the conversations hence from our ancestors. We are speaking what
yes,
they could speak. We are healing that of which could not be healed at the
yes.
time that they were here. So
100%.
um,
100%. I feel my ancestors very very much, especially being here, because we don't realize that we have our whole team of ancestors behind our back. You know, it's like we're never alone, and they did so much to for us to be here right now in this moment. It's just interesting how we can that's another thing. We are not taught to, I don't know about your culture, but like we're not taught to really think about our ancestors very much. And it's very much like go and build your life and blah 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 blah. But like there's so much wisdom,
in fact, because of
right?
religion has demonized talking about your ancestors, meaning that you know what you're talking about the dead. So they've made that, depending on the religion, like it's something demonic. Uh, that's your religion, an organized religion, because we've been a spiritual people since our existence. A spiritual people. So, and like you said, is it demonized in my community? You're damn right it is. My talking of my ancestors or um going to the graveyard is well, I had been told by some of my family, you're nuts. Okay? They
Interesting.
they
Because
don't
I
know that.
feel like, yeah, because if you really think logically, every life has has its own value, and so their
Mhm.
gifts don't just disappear, right? It becomes cumulative, and um it's like I don't know, it's interesting. I was just sitting out in the sun, and I it just came to me that I can see my ancestors through my hair, through my eyes, through my nose. Like they're sitting right here right now. I can see them.
Mhm.
So it's you're not if you feel like there's something in the past. No, they're not. And their blessings and their life and their um goals and whatever they did has a value. It's just like, Newton's third
They
law,
There's words that come out of my mouth
right?
that come from such a passion that is beyond me. I know it is beyond me. I don't even
Right.
know sometimes where my passion comes from, but it is so strong and it is so deep. I feel it coming through me right now, like to the point of where I could cry. That is how
Yeah,
strong.
it is.
In in Frog 2500 says, "My ancestors visit in my dreams. They visit me too in
Wow.
my." Mhm.
Yeah, my ancestors do too, and it's just interesting. And welcome, Frogs 2500. Um,
Yeah. um,
Also, Sabrina, I'm doing good. I'm just having a beautiful time here, just chilling. Thanks for asking. But yeah, it's I feel like the more we trust ourselves and the more authority we bring in our being, the more
Mhm.
these things then show up and you'll start getting signs. It happens to me a lot, like especially when I am not disassociating. Sometimes we do, it's normal.
Mhm.
But when it is true, they'll show up in my dreams or just like random thoughts, which are like, where is that coming from? Or like you said, emotionally, it comes
Mhm.
up a lot. Like especially when I see, I feel like there's a strong connection to nature, which is like, where's that coming from?
Yeah.
Like I was crying. Like I watched Avatar this is the third movie, Avatar. Um, there was so much nature. I was crying just watching that movie. I'm like, I just want to stay here, and I feel like I have lived here, and I haven't because I grew up in the city.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, where's that coming from?
Yes.
Certain things that you're like, I just don't know why.
Lifetimes, other lifetimes, are like
Lifetimes, of
right
course.
there. What the memory, your DNA codes are being unlocked.
Right. And
Those are your
also,
ancestors.
yeah, and also like certain habits, which sometimes it's like, oh, this person, like your second and all of these and used to do that, and like this person that I don't even know, and you are like, is isn't that, you might have observed that in your family too. You're like, we're
Oh
all
yes,
connected.
yes,
Yeah.
we are, and it's it's funny because I'm looking at like, oh God, fourth, um, third, fourth nieces, like that are showing their I see their grandfathers or their grandmothers, uh, or certain behavioral traits that are showing up into them that they've never ever met them, never ever, ever.
Mhm.
Yet you know what? It's there. It's showing up. So that's the
Right.
power.
And science has proved that already, that um our great grandmothers already has had us in their DNA. So it's like, it's a known thing. Like even science,
Hmm.
like we carry it in our bodies. So that's how real it gets.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, beautiful. Another thing I think we already talked about was that intuition is not about. Um, I think I felt like intuition, and that's where we get confused because the 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 mind-based living is very much about, oh, what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, and when it's going to happen. But like intuition is very much about like the next step. That's it. You're not going to know beyond that. It's not about certainty. So that's why you were saying it appears chaotic, but it's not chaotic. It just requires you to just be present, and you will know the next step when it comes.
Right.
What do you think about that?
Oh, I'm telling you, like, I'm going to use this as an example. Um, Months before my brother's passing, I knew he was leaving. That running around with that feeling, that I just, it was it's a knowing. I don't know how to describe it. It's just a knowing, and so finding him the day that I found him, it
Mhm.
was like, ah, okay, because I knew it was going to happen. Do you understand? My
Yeah,
intuition told me long before that it was going to happen. So yeah, and
interesting.
like use that time. It gave me an opportunity to be very present, made sure I was very present each interaction I did have with him. So I used my intuition of knowing what was coming in that sense, which, yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Interesting. Yeah. Also, like sometimes I feel like, um if you feel like certain things keep repeating, have you felt that? Like you're like, wait, this happened, like it happened again, and it's almost like it's asking for your attention, and you
Hmm.
see it in different signs, and you'll see it in the sky, and you see it in different things, and you're like,
Or I don't know about you, but I've had random people come back up in my head. Random people of my some of them, what, older family members, whatever. But my point being is a particular memory. And I know that there's something about that and the time that it's happening. Okay, because it's happening way too much. Why are these people coming up, and why is this particular thing coming up at this particular point in time? So look
Yeah.
for the pattern here. What is it that I need to see that I'm not willing to see? Or what is it that I need to deal with,
Yes.
or what still needs to be healed? So I've noticed that happening in random things. Or like as I said, what is it that I'm not seeing that I need to see?
Interesting, because I observed that yes, if certain things are repeating, that means that there's either a certain habit of yours that you need to look at that's not really helping, or certain
Mhm.
people pop up. Maybe there can be psychic attacks, there can be people getting into your energy, thinking about you, talking shit about you. I'm just saying, right? Or also like people who genuinely love you and care for you, and they're sending their prayers and blessings to you. But yeah, it's interesting what you said, because random things
Yeah,
do pop up, and also
I
in my
say,
dreams. Like my dreams are very um,
in my
full of
case, it
signs. Yeah.
show me a pattern in the
Mm,
people who had been involved in the pattern that had been going on
mm,
for a very long time.
right.
Certain things, bang, 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 piecing pieces together. Ah,
Right.
okay.
Isn't that
Which
interesting though? Which is helpful because
makes sense at the end of a cycle. If that's
exactly.
taken to your next cycle, I want to read some
Mm.
of the comments because we got
Yes.
their comment
Yes.
in here. Um, we've got Sabrina says, yes, our ancestors do communicate with us in our dreams. Mine are also here in animal and bird form. Yes, in as guardians.
Wow.
Her and I've had that big time conversation. Yes, that you know what, some of your
Yes.
animal friends are your spirit guides that have come back from family members that have come back in possess spirit body of your cats. I believe that.
I
And then
believe it
we've
too.
at Frogs 2500. My aunt visited me 2 years before she passed. My intuition is never wrong. My name is Tammy. Hello, Tammy.
Oh,
And
hi,
well,
Tammy.
actually, that's exactly what my point is right there. Like I told you, woo, that's not the first time that that happened. That is not the first time that that happened with me. I'm just going to say that. Um, because I also had a strong intuition of my other brother who passed exactly. I knew exactly what had happened to him. I knew exactly when he expired. Anyways, wow. Welcome, Tammy.
Powerful.
Welcome,
Yeah,
welcome.
welcome, Tammy. Thanks for sharing, Sabrina and Tammy. Yeah, it's just, it is interesting because, um, and it's interesting how different people get messages in different ways. It's almost like they know how to communicate with you, and which language is the most convenient to get across, to get the message across. Um, because I don't see my ancestors, but I can feel their energy, like I said, and then they also show up in my dreams, in mostly in the form of emotion, and like
Mm,
certain people be acting a weird way. I'm like, what? So, um, yeah, so emotions are absolutely how I feel like something is, um, yeah,
You
definitely.
read your emotions in the dream, and now you can determine. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Also in also through dreams, I feel like I get to know a lot of what I'm processing or what is going on through my dreams. So that's another way I think intuition does communicate.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
which is interesting because growing up, what I learned was that dreams are garbage, right? Like just random. But that's far from the truth.
Mhm.
I think they're really helpful. Yeah. Um, Also,
Well,
let's
we travel
see.
to different realms too in our dreams.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Like, and people in the chat, like, yeah. What do you
What do
think
I?
about?
Well,
Yeah, like, do share something because I really like that kind of stuff.
the last time I feel like I traveled to another time. I was dreaming of my granddaughter. We were in this. My granddaughter's like 4 years old. In the building that we were in, it was very, I want to say gothic. It had a lot of rooms on each side, but very dark candles lit down. So whatever time period that was in, and I'm gonna say like before even the 1800s. Okay, that it was like that love time period. And at the time, it was familiar, but not familiar. That's what it felt like throughout the whole dream. And yeah, so I do believe that I was in another time period during that uh,
Yeah.
dreams. And why my granddaughter was there, because it's for those of you that follow me, I'm not even in communication with my granddaughter. So I think that that was her way of coming and visiting me
Mm,
in my dream state, and letting me know. And oddly enough, because I was protecting her too very much in that dream, so I don't know. But yeah, I do believe that we do definitely go to different dimensions. And then even during our awake state, sometimes that happens. Like, where did I put my keys? All of a sudden you cannot find your friggin' keys. They were just there. They were just there. And you go looking and looking and looking and looking and can't find your keys. And then eventually they show up.
yeah. That has is
What?
it's yeah,
And it's
it's
happened.
really interesting. Yeah.
And that whole day thing, okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about it. Because, folks, this has been a very off week for me. I am not, I don't celebrate the holiday like everyone. And I felt like, because I haven't celebrated the holidays in quite some time. Not to say that I don't get together with different ones and whatnot. But my whole point being is I'm not looking at the day like it's on the calendar countdown, none of that. In this year, I found me losing days. I lost days. It was a very surreal, like a whole day. I definitely lost a whole day. So it's like, what the heck is going on? So yeah, I felt like, you know what, time just
Yeah.
split, or I separated from the rest of the world or something like that. I actually, I'm talking to Rev Neat and I'm saying, tell me what the day is. She's telling me, no, it's Friday. And I go and I look because I'm thinking this is messed up. So it wasn't until I saw that I said, whoa, okay. So yeah, we're talking about that. And no, it was not the weed. No.
That was my next question. You know, so like,
That was a good Rev Neat's question. Hilda, are you smoking? No, I'm always smoking.
uh, Tammy says my dad would come up in conversation and he would call or just show up. When he passed, he communicated to me through signs, music, and dreams, and he was a coach driver for this particular company. Wow. That's the
Well,
thing. It's like intuition, I feel like, is like it's patterns, it's your body, it's your emotions, your ancestors, it's your past lives, it's other beings, people who are connected to you, um, your soul tribe. It's just, yeah, it's all
and
of
you
that.
definitely have to be open to that their process of communication from that other side, understanding like all these different areas of in which you saw him come through music, the fact that he was a coach driver and that what the coach pulled up. So pulling together all those different signs
Right.
because you'll keep missing the signs if you're looking sometimes for
Right.
that direct
And
sign
that
because it's like that.
right. And it does require us to slow down if we are constantly on the go and it's not like you stop doing everything. It's really requires you to be more present and um conscious, right? I think it does take um it's like really building a muscle and taking the time to practice that muscle, because we are too invested in our five senses and they have limits. And like in Gurbanian and also in other cultures, it says that there are um, we have senses beyond these physical senses, and that's what we're talking about. um,
Mm-hmm.
to really invest in that way of living, which is more
Mm,
wholesome rather than being this tiny human and feeling fragile, which we are, but we are not just this human, right? That's what we're talking about. um, so yeah, wonderful. Anything else you want to add, Hilda, and anybody else?
you
Or
know what? I'm enjoying this discussion. How was it
yeah.
for each of you as a child? Oh boy, for me as a child, definitely. I had intuition. I had experiences as a child. I'll call them. What I know now is called astral travel. That I would
Mm,
actually astral travel as a child, and I had an issue with my takeoff that I would always end up losing my breath, not being able to breathe. Um,
yeah.
Understanding now that that's what was happening. That's why that I couldn't breathe. But you know what? My guide, who was with me, whoever that guide was at the time, because that's what I've come to know that presence to be, would because I would start to panic, and they would say to me, just wiggle your toe. Just wiggle your toe. Wiggle your big toe, and you'll be able to breathe again. And the next thing you know what? I would center myself enough and then I'd start wiggling my toe, and then be like a gasp of air. And that would be during the takeoff or ascending back down into my own body. And that took place. Oh my God. I remember before I even started school, it taking place, after I started school, which created a very stressful time. Because I'm trying to describe this to my mother, and she's thinking that I am possessed with demons. So she comes in because my mom, I'll tell you, my mom was a TV reader. She came from that spiritual side. She had her own gifts. But hearing me describe my experience sent her into, because she was also a part of that group, had been programmed with Catholicism. So she went right into the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, and started cursing the spirit out of me, which made me, as a little
Yeah.
kid,
Yeah.
freak. I'm scared. So it really took me um, which when I realize it now, I needed to learn that process. I needed to go through the process and learn the process on my own, and also not to be fearful of my unknown. Like those guides that were coming to me, recognizing who was there in aiding me, in that it wasn't um, bad. It wasn't a bad experience at the end when I was able to figure it all out. But I had to figure it out, and it took me some to figure it out. So yeah, that was my early child experience. What about you, Revney? Come on, I want to hear it. I just blurted right in. Told you my experience because it was right there. I could tell you so many other things too. I could tell you things that I actually would dream before they would happen. So, anyways, we won't go there though. Tell me about you. So yes, I had.
Interesting. Um, no, I also want to know from like Tammy and Sabrina if you're up for it.
Hmm.
Um, I think I frankly most of it I don't remember, but I used to get a lot of sleep paralysis. Um, and I felt really like I don't know. I think there was a lot of religious trauma also. Like it had a big role in how I saw certain things. I never knew about guides. I still don't to this day have an experience, but I'm sure they have helped me many times. Um, but I feel like I grew up very religious as a child. Um, and not that my family was religious, but that being a child, I took it really seriously and I explored it pretty seriously as a child. But I also remember like I just felt very misunderstood, I think, as a child, which is probably why I did not explore anything. Uh, Sleep paralysis, and I also used to experience a lot of out of body experiences. Like I used to see myself from top, which
Yeah.
I also feel is comes from disassociation and pain that
Mm-hmm.
your body just can't hold. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it lets
Mm-hmm.
go.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Or your higher self was
or
observing.
or my higher self was observing. Yeah. Yeah, but I really I don't know, I felt really alone, but like in terms of people, mentors, but I had a really strong connection with God. I feel like that was it. That was the only thing acceptable, I guess, in my culture. So
In of
yeah,
a ref.
right. Since coming to this planet, family didn't know how to talk to me, although both sides of my family were spiritual. I went to Catholic school and knew it was bonkers. Interesting. See, both sides of the family were spiritual, but still, that is interesting, right? Mm. And Catholic school, my God. It might be difficult. I don't know. It's just school was so difficult for me. I hated school my all my life. Not learning. I have always enjoyed learning, but that whole process
Mm.
just killed me.
Did
Okay.
not have a good school experience, and
No.
you know what? I clearly saw through the bullshit very, very early.
Yeah.
On. The
I was
there's
in
no
a
as
oh,
equal, no such thing as uh, uh, definitely it is a group thought process, not an individual thought process.
mm,
Um, Titian, I saw all the BS
yeah,
to it all, which made that whole experience a very difficult experience to experience from a
right.
happy experience because I guess you just going into it, being able to read people or what I read
Interesting.
is not a good experience.
It's interesting like you knew that it was wrong. I didn't even know it was wrong. I was so confused the whole time. It's like my inner voice was screaming, but like people around me couldn't understand like it was just so hard to fit in. I was so confused and I was a quiet child. I was like a shadow. You could see me, but nobody could hear me all my childhood.
I was a teacher's nightmare, I think. No, really, I was probably a teacher's nightmare. Like, you know what? Where's this kid coming from? Like, why can we not get through to her? Why does she refuse to show up? Because you know what? I had a pattern of inconsistency and I had consistency. I'm just being real with you, you know. Um, any any education that came, it came later on in my life, and it was because I could be more selective in all of the above, you know, as to what it
Yeah,
was about. And in that, I saw the bullshit. Can I just say that? You know, it didn't take me long to see
love
the
that.
bull of that too. But you know, I got a problem with programming. I'm just gonna say that. I got a real
That's
problem.
amazing. That's amazing. But it took me a longest time to figure it all out. I knew it, like, I had to basically say my whole life was a lie. So it took me a minute to figure that out because it's the whole thing. It's still happening. You see what I mean? It's still happening. Whatever took me so long to understand everything is still happening. It's so enmeshed, in the culture. Just say,
I just want
anyways,
to say, you know what? Ask me if it was easy. It has not been easy. It's not easy. It's a
yeah,
long, long road. And I will be
absolutely.
honest, people do think, you know what, you are crazy. But you know what? Here's the greatness of where I am at right now. You don't give two sweet beep, 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 beeps. You just don't anymore. That's the
Yeah,
greatness of it. You know more of who you are. So, you know, that makes that part of the journey less.
I love that for you because I think it's it was not easy for me because, like, such complicated life I've had. From outside, it would feel like, oh, it's okay. But oh my God, if you pick up pieces, it's like there was so much to unravel.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
that too, I mean, I think I did not have a mentor. I did not have anybody around me to help me understand what the hell was going on. I was actually targeted left and right for not being able to fit in. It was so difficult. Oh my God. Extremely
Help
lonely, just like yourself.
too many help me make sense of this
Yeah.
bullshit moment. Too many. Too many of them.
Too many. To the point that I just became quiet because I was like, they just don't get it. It's almost like they, they see it differently from you. So, like, it's almost like you're speaking French in
Mhm,
Germany. I don't know. It's like
mhm,
they just don't get
mhm,
it.
mhm.
I became really quiet and I internalized all of it. Not fun. And like some people fight back, which I guess is what you did. It was like, I'm not taking it.
I was quiet during my first when I hit my first 12 my 12 or 13th year. Oh no, something completely flipped. Something I just it was either or really fight or flight. You know what? Call out some of the bullshit or don't call out. But you know, so I found myself um in my young mind, something flipped, and I just, you know what? I wasn't taking no more shit. I'm calling things out. And what that looked like, especially at that young age, was probably just straight up rebellion. But you know what? When I see things shifted inside of me, I was no longer that shy girl that, you know what, was going to hide behind somebody else, or, you know what, shrink away, or, you know what, run from comments or anything like that. No, 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 no. I came back fighting back probably with a fucking vicious vengeance, and that did have to balance itself out. No, seriously, it probably looked a certain kind of way. Is it
How
usually
old
does?
were you? How old were you? Like, because
But Ted said 13, 12, 13 didn't look good. Okay. The point in place of where, you know what, I probably did develop a reputation with, you know what, you don't fuck with her. Because, you know what, when people have
I
fucked
love
with you,
that.
all of your life, you know what? It's like, do it again. I just dare you one time to do it again. And what helped with me is that I bigger. So you know what, bigger than my age. So I went from being scrawny, skinny to you know what? Now she's thick. So now you know what you got thick and with me. Just now go ahead. You don't even have to say anything, and I will barack you in 2 seconds. Listen, I have balanced that shit out. All but make myself open. Did look a certain kind of way. Don't lie. And sometimes, if I regress and I go into that little girl, you don't want that little girl. That's the little
Yeah,
girl that you want. Nobody wants that little. I don't even like that little girl.
that's the thing. And that little girl was anyways just a conditioned girl. So that was not even
Mm,
you. That was just a version of you that people liked because it was
mhm,
comfortable for them. Because that's what I
mhm.
feel like. I still
My-
I'm still learning more about myself. So anyways, there are a
Absolutely.
lot of comments. Sabrina said, I used to get sleep paralysis as a child also. I learned recently from a spiritual teacher that it occurs when you're returning to your body after astral traveling. Interesting.
Mhm,
Hmm.
mhm,
Very interesting.
mhm.
I thought there was like ghosts all around me, just attacking me because I wasn't even there
One.
in my
You
body.
you was traveling. Oddly enough, and you're such a traveler too. You are a traveler, and she wondered why she's traveling. Of course, you're going to go back to different dimensions. I was there before. Now look, I'm coming back. I just.
Why didn't I remember though? Maybe I never paid attention. It's possible
Mhm,
though.
mhm,
Tammy says I was quiet and the library was my friend, always carried a book. That's the thing. A nerd
mhm.
just like myself. Same. I used to read so much, but I
Yeah.
was totally into religious studies at that point, though. So
Yes, those are the books I read. Oh, I did. Oh my goodness! And during that younger part of my life, Jehovah's Witness. Oh, they had to read something all the time, all the time.
nobody asked me to. I really enjoyed it because it really because I feel like Gurbani is why I am who I am today.
Mhm,
If I didn't have that, I would not be here today. Because there is no programming. Like it, the programming is in the culture. The programming is not in the messages. You see what I mean?
mhm.
It's just that people are not reading them. So, so um,
Right. Once again, you got to do the work, though. You got
I
to.
gotta do the work.
Only going to get a version of the message that is. It's only going to resonate with you from the place of in which you are here.
I'm thinking like I should start um, talking more about Gurbani because I haven't
Yeah.
done that. I took a break, full on sabbatical, extended for a decade maybe.
Here right now, I want to take the time to congratulate you on your 500 subscribers, baby girl. You know what? You've been putting the work in, and I just want to say that I see you, and I'm very proud of you. And you know, um, listen, the listen. I know what I see, and I know what the universe shows me, and I see big things. I think you're already doing it.
I
And so
appreciate it. Yeah,
so happy to be a part of the process with you.
I appreciate it. I think it's also people like you and people in the chat because remember, like that's another thing I'm learning. The more I'm getting older, is like you need people like yourself.
Mhm,
You're not supposed to do it alone.
mhm.
That's programming, right? Um, so I appreciate
You
it. Thank you.
all conversations that we have had. lately.
Mm.
You cannot. I could sit up there and I could have this conversation with the audience, talking to a screen, talking, even do a live and just talk. But I think that what makes these kind of conversations most impactful and meaningful and something where you're going to get something out of it is when you're having an exchange with someone else. That's what I love about
Yes.
our conversations because I got the gift to gab. I can get up there and gab. But you know what? Here's the deal. You know what? It's so much better when you have five energy that you are actually in a thinking brain that knows how to think back and individualize, come back at you with that. That makes a much more powerful connection. And then when we have those of you that are in the chat that are coming back with so much feedback and comments and all of that,
Yes.
that to me is what makes this live and
And
impactful.
it is supposed to be about energy exchange, right?
Right,
What are you
right.
doing sitting here? We're just talking. It's just like what are you seeking validation? I don't know. Like there's no point, right? Um Sabrina says my Tammy is laughing. I'm sure you said something funny. My
Probably.
siblings, Sabrina says, my siblings used to tell me I was adopted because I was so different from them, even more so today as an adult. Being called that all my life, my love.
Mhm.
Why are you like this? Why are you so different? Blah, blah, blah. Why don't you just fit in? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no, that's not what we're here to do. I think that, thank God, I really don't miss my childhood. Life is so much better right now, so much more
Mhm.
clarity, so much more strength, and so much more autonomy that, yeah. So 100%. I'm sorry you went through that. It's just terrible. At that age, feeling like an outsider is the worst thing for your nervous system, right? And I know you went through that too, based on
Oh,
our
yeah.
conversation. It's a common theme, I guess.
If you are here, because I can tell that everyone that is in this chat right now has their own mission. I can just tell just via our experiences, especially the
Mhm.
way that where this conversation's going. So all these experiences had to happen. When I sit back there and I think about my earlier uh,
Right,
spirit s- 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 introduction to spirit or whatever, going back so early and it being so misunderstood, but there was things I need to learn. And one of the
right.
biggest things is this: you can learn how to do this on your own. You need to learn this real quick. That you know
Yes.
what, something is happening to you. That you have, you know. So yeah, and I wouldn't have did that if it hadn't have been realized at such an early age. You know, my mom was she was for a reason because even in her own way, she was her
Yeah.
own. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I take that as a compliment now because I know that, but at that age it was very confusing. Even now, it's just recently that I've put those pieces together. It's like if a person is commenting on you, they're comparing you to their life and their idea of life.
Hmm.
And because they don't have that angle, one, they can feel inspired, two, they can push you down, but it has nothing to do with you. You can go on living your life and
Hmm.
actually take that as a compliment because not everyone can take in your being. You know what I mean? It's actually a
Yeah,
compliment. When I used to get really, I shared with you, right? I was so triggered in the beginning. I was like, why are they talking like what did I do? But because I'm making them question everything they know about their life, right? So it's a compliment actually when people tell you like talk like this. Anyways,
exactly.
my
You
TED
know what?
talk.
When I figured out that you know what, I didn't come here to fit in. I wasn't designed to fit in.
Exactly.
Out one out, it's like, okay. Then I became way more accepting of my aloneness. Do you understand what I mean? Not
Mm,
that I'm the time, but I do enjoy being
yeah.
alone way more than most people. Um, And yet I also know when I need to be out and around people, but it's no longer one of those things of, one, this is the way that I'm designed. This is a part of my the
Right.
design and that's why I think that's why a lot of my relationships looked the way that they did, in terms of romantic relationships. Just makes everything makes more sense right now.
Yes.
Or that's my raised awareness today, anyways. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a whole another topic, but yes, absolutely hear you. um Tammy says my readings were occult books. My family would flip. You know what? I have okay, I think we should probably wrap it up real quick and my phone is about to die. But 100% it's so interesting. People of my age would read like spicy books and I would know how to connect to God and how to like and I told you, right? My best friends would be old people
Yep. Now listen,
all my life.
yes, yes, I know, old people.
Always old people. And not like just normal old people. It would be like we would have really good conversations.
Yes, yes.
I love to talk, if you don't
Oh,
know.
yes, absolutely. I do. I was the same way. Same way. See,
Yeah.
we're very connected souls.
Yeah. So
I
it's
mean,
just um Sabrina says congratulations. Oh,
yes.
maybe for the subscribers. Thanks, Sabrina. I appreciate you. Um, but yeah, this was a very beautiful, fulfilling conversation. Anything else you want to add? We'll wrap it up. It's like almost 90
I
minutes.
anything I want to add, and once again, I'm always interested in to see where these land. But this, you know what? This, listen, this was a very on conversation. I loved it was charged in its own way. I always look forward to going back and listening to the playback, and I'll get
Yes.
something of it again. But yeah, no, I think we nailed it.
And there
Well,
was no glitch. So yes, this is and
it's
I
terrible. But anyways, we did that live.
yes. So
Yeah.
this was perfect and we'll see you again next week on Hilda's channel.
Yes.
Um Nova Scotia's Organic to the Land Stories. And please share, like, subscribe if you feel like this can help someone. And we will see you again next week with
And
the
thank you
topic that we're not
showed
sure
up.
about. Thanks for everyone who showed up. Yes. And have a beautiful, amazing day. Yeah.
Yes.
Take care. Until next time. Take care. And I love you all. Love you, Hilda. Bye.
Love everyone.
Thanks. Thanks, Tammy. Sabrina. Bye.